Crime Alert family. So good to see you back. Love seeing you guys. You know this. All right, get your tissues ready, you guys. This is going to be a hard one. This is the presser on the little boys that they just found in the apartment by themselves, and the little 8-year-old was dead, and he had been dead for a year. So they took in mom and dad and asked them about what's going on. And evidently, I think they blamed it on the father because they released him. They released him right after they talked to him, which I can't believe they did that. But we don't know what they said to Ellie. I mean, they could have told law enforcement anything. I'm thinking she probably told law enforcement that she didn't have custody of these kids. But come to find out, after they released them, she did have full custody of all four boys, and her boyfriend had beat this little 8-year-old to death a year ago, and they left. The mom and boyfriend left and left the other three little guys, 15 years old, 7 years old. Hi, good morning. And the other one there by themselves. So I am just dying to watch this with you guys. Like I said, hey, trigger alert right off the bat. If you can't take anything with children, please don't watch this with me. And please have your tissues ready, guys, because I think this is going to be a hard one. So let's go. Let's watch this presser together. I've turned my mic off. Good to see you guys.
Good morning. I'm Ed Gonzalez, your Harris County Sheriff, and thank you for joining us this morning as we provide an update to our community on a recent case. There aren't many jobs in our agency that are tougher than those involving abused children. These incidents are horrific, heartbreaking cases of abuse and neglect, and they involve the most innocent and defenseless among our community. On Sunday, our patrol deputies and investigators responded to a gruesome child abandonment case. For many agency veterans, it was the most disturbing scene they worked in their entire law enforcement career. It seemed too horrific to be real. It's hard to even explain to you that feeling. Our investigators immediately began piecing together what happened and trying to unfold a seemingly senseless death of a child who was supposed to be loved and cared for. and trying to understand unspeakable living conditions for the dead child's siblings who were left alone for months to fend for each other. We are here to share what we know today and to share our continued commitment to these children and our community. We must work tirelessly as child safety advocates to protect our most vulnerable, and we must work as a team. Sergeant Dennis Wolford with our homicide unit will be talking through the charges with you and any updates on this active investigation. And I want to emphasize active. It's still an active investigation that is continuing. Briefly, I want to provide a scene recap. On Sunday, October 24th, 2021, at about 3:15 p.m., our deputies received a phone call from a 15-year-old child who advised that his brother had been dead for a year and his body was in an apartment unit at 3530 Greencrest near West Park Tollway. He also stated that his parents had not lived in the apartment in West Harris County with him and his siblings for several months. Our patrol deputies found a 15-year-old and two other male children in an apartment unit ages 10 and 7 who appeared malnourished and showed signs of physical injury. They also found skeletal dry remains. The Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit, Child Abuse Unit, and Crime Scene Unit investigators responded to the scene. The children were taken to a local hospital to be assessed and treated. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services received emergency custody of them. Now I want to pause just briefly just to say that in the midst of the darkness and this horrific situation, that I'm so glad that that 15-year-old finally reached out for help. I want to say that I'm glad that he found assistance at the end of the other line with one of our call takers. And I'm comforted to know that when he opened the door and there was a Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies there, that they could finally receive the care and protection that they've needed for so long. And that's what law enforcement does every single day, finding people in their darkest moments. The mother of the children, 35-year-old Gloria Yvette Williams, and her boyfriend, 31-year-old Brian Ward Coulter, were located late Sunday night and interviewed by investigators before being released without charges. Now, I think it's important to note that at that point, it's still an ongoing active investigation. We didn't find them until late that night. And so we have to make sure that we're being thorough, not getting ahead of the evidence and the investigation that's ongoing. And so at that point, they were released without any charges. On Tuesday, October 26, 2021, the Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit charged the mother's boyfriend, Brian Coulter, with the murder of the child, who was confirmed to be 8 years old at the time of his death in 2020. The manner and cause of death were ruled a murder by multiple blunt force injuries, according to the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences. The mother of the murdered child, Gloria Yvette Williams, was charged with injury to a child by omission and tampering with evidence. Both Williams and Coulter were taken into custody without incident by our Criminal Warrants Unit investigators, and this remains an active investigation. At this point, I want to introduce Sergeant Dennis Wolford, the lead investigator with our Homicide Unit, that will speak about the child's murder and updates. A lot of this information will still be general. Keep in mind, there are certain things we could answer, other things we simply can't at this point for a variety of reasons. And it remains active because there's always a possibility, as we mentioned, that there could be additional charges, that charges could be upgraded. So it's still an unfolding investigation at this point. But at this point, I introduce Sergeant Wolford.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning. Again, my name's Sergeant Dennis Wolford. I'm the supervisor of the homicide unit that was tasked with investigating this. It's a group of 6 investigators. The lead investigator is actually Deputy John Craig. Child abuse also made the scene with us, and they were invaluable in the input that they gave us dealing with CPS and things like that. One of the things that I want to express, I know that there was a lot of people upset that these people weren't taken into custody right away. And you know, one of the things you have to understand is, one, the law of statements, you know, the laws of the state of Texas and how we get these things into trial. We know at that point that these children were safe because they were in CPS custody. And, you know, the decision was not to was made not to arrest that night. And the reason is because a lot of evidence has to come in before we can actually file charges, including a ruling from the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences on what caused this child's death. We also had numerous people, forensic interviews with the children and stuff like that that had to be done. Plus, we have to corroborate what the children are telling us before charges can be filed. So believe me, we, from the very beginning, me, the six of us, the child abuse guys, we were focused on getting these charges done. We wanted to get them done as quickly as possible. But above all murder investigations, child deaths, child murders, they are methodical investigations. And our end goal is to see that justice is served, not to just put people in jail. We want justice to be served. I will answer any questions that I can for you. There may be some that I cannot. Again, as the sheriff said, in my long time of working homicides, this one's up there. This one affected us.
We'll circle back with the questions just a bit. Let me.
Sure. Just.
And I also want to mention that we have members here from our Crimes Against Children unit as well. Lieutenant Lovett and his team are here as well, and so they'll be present if there's certain questions that perhaps they can answer. I do want to just mention a couple things that may come up before we get into other parts of it, is that it's our understanding that the children that were present in the apartment, that there were two fathers involved, not involved in the scene, what I'm saying in terms of connected to them. We're told, we haven't confirmed it yet, but that one is possibly deceased already and the other was simply not involved in the lives of the children, so they were not in the picture. There's also, I believe, at least two other siblings that were not in the apartment that are elsewhere as well. So I just wanted to mention that we are aware of those dynamics as well. I want to just briefly say it in Spanish as well, just recap what we had. El día domingo, el 24, como a las 3:15, recibimos una llamada de un adolescente de 15 años que avisó que quería reportar de que su hermano había estado muerto por más de un año y que el cadáver estaba dentro de la unidad, en los apartamentos en el 3530 Greencrest. Mencionaron también que los parientes no habían estado en unidad por varios meses y que él estaba cuidando a sus niños. Cuando llegaron nuestros oficiales, encontraron un estado de descuido horroroso. Encontraron al adolescente de 15 años y dos niños también de edades de 10 a 15 años. Estaban desnutridos, tenían también lesiones físicas. Entonces comenzamos nuestra investigación. Hemos puesto cargos contra a la mamá de 35 años, Gloria Williams, y el novio de ella, 31 años, Brian Coulter, por los diferentes hechos. Él recibió los cargos más fuertes, que han sido del asesinato del niño pequeño, que determinamos que tenía 8 años a su tiempo de muerte el año pasado. Esta investigación va a seguir continuando porque hay diferentes aspectos y ha sido una de las investigaciones más duras para todos nosotros. Entonces vamos a seguir adelante para encontrarle justicia a estos niños. Again, may this little angel rest in peace. Didn't have a chance. It's very heartbreaking, and we offer our condolences just, to the siblings that remain and anyone that has ever cared for these children in some form or fashion. And so our heart breaks for them, and we're going to do everything possible to be their aspects through the part of the system that we control, and that we leave no stone unturned, as I promised at the scene. And we will also, our prayer, or my prayer, is that the remaining children find the love, support, and protection that they so desperately need and deserve, and that they have been missing for so long. And I hope that their future is better than their past. We're also told that they hadn't been in school since last May, so for more than a year they've been missing out on that as well. So there's a lot of factors to this, a lot of moving parts, and so that's where we're at right now. I'll go ahead and pause just to see if there's any. I'm sure there'll be questions. Donald?
What were the children's injuries? Because when you found he appeared to be malnourished and physically injured.
Lieutenant, do you want to speak a little bit to the injuries, or does anyone know just the physical injuries?
The 9-year-old does have an injury to the jaw that we come to believe was caused to his jaw by the boyfriend, Brian Coulter, several weeks ago. There was no medical attention given for that injury. That injury is going to cause, he's going to have surgery, and that surgery will happen soon. They were very thin. One of the first things I asked them, are they hungry? And they said they were. And the first thing, I don't know if it was because we're cops or what, but they wanted donuts. And we immediately went and got them Shipley's donuts. But the physical injury that was evident to the 9-year-old, that's the only real overt sign of trauma to them as far as physically.
I want to mention as well, because that was something that was very disturbing, is that back to the different parts. We had the dry remains, skeletal remains that were present. So clearly in our initial observations, the body had been there for a long time, and so that was disturbing. But on top of that, we had a serious injury to another small child that apparently had not received, to our knowledge, any kind of medical attention, any pain treatment or anything like that during the course of this. I also want to point out as well, I mentioned a little bit that the apartment was in a deplorable condition. We saw soiled carpet, no furniture at all, no bedding, no blankets, nothing that we could see. And it appeared to have roaches and flies and just things. It was very bad condition for anyone, especially children, to live in.
I spoke with neighbors who were the ones helping give that 15-year-old food, and they didn't know there were 2 other boys inside that apartment. To your knowledge, did the 2 younger boys ever leave the apartment for several months? Were they stuck in the apartment?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I do not believe that the 2 young boys were ever allowed to leave that apartment. There is some evidence that perhaps they were locked in, possibly different parts of the apartment, and they were not to leave that apartment, from what I understand.
With what you can tell us, it obviously took, the 15-year-old was brave enough to call you guys, but it did take a year. Fear, what can you tell us about what he's saying? Threatening? What took so long to call authorities? I believe it was absolute fear. What the investigation is leading us to the fact that this mother and her boyfriend have been together for a few years now, a couple years. And over time, I think that the beatings were consistent and mainly, involving the younger children. And the 15-year-old just absolutely afraid and was basically hoping or relying on his mother to at some point contact law enforcement and advise of his deceased brother in the house, and that didn't happen. And I think after a year's time, the 15-year-old boy finally said enough is enough, and that's when he decided to contact law enforcement.
So those children have been through a lot of trauma, and so again, I mean, the fear, the death of a sibling and other things, it's just heartbreaking, and so the trauma is just at another level. So, one in Spanish?
Sí. ¿Dónde estaban estos señores? ¿Dónde estaba la esposa, y la madre y este señor? ¿Dónde los encontraron?
Ellos estaban viviendo, pues hay diferentes aspectos. Uno es cuando fueron arrestados y el otro estaban viviendo en otro apartamento. Tenían otro apartamento donde vivían juntos.
La pregunta que le quiero hacer es porque ustedes los encuentran, ustedes acaban de describir las condiciones que estos niños estaban, no tenían muebles, no tenían nada, ni una cobija, nada. ¿Estos señores estaban bien en un apartamento amueblado y todo?
The question, first of all, I was asking where they were at, the boyfriend and the mother, generally speaking, and I said that they were living in a separate apartment of their own. And so the follow-up question was, do we know if that apartment was more decent and more well taken care of than the one the kids were in? So I don't know if we know that detail, but do we know the condition of the apartment they were in?
We do not know that yet. We have, we're in contact with that complex, and that is on the follow-up stuff we have to do in this week, is to go over there and document what.
I'm going to say this, I'm sorry. any clue of why this happened? Have you talked to these individuals to say as to what was going through their mind in doing this to this kid,
Well,
especially the mother?
without giving direct quotes or saying what we learned in these interviews or things of that nature, you have to understand a child abuser, and this is a textbook case of a person that abuses children, and the mindset, the demeanor, the children that are abused, 7, 9 years old, 12 years old, very, very vulnerable children. One of the things, these are also something that's probably not out yet, is that these are special needs children. And so you have a very manipulative person who's not only, and this mother had a year to contact law enforcement. So you can't tell me that for every minute for a year, you were afraid. But this is a classic child abuser. So someone that picks on these young children, and whether it gives them some kind of I don't know the word for it, some kind of makes them feel better about themselves to abuse these children, I don't know. But I do think that the type of person this is very manipulative from the children they're abusing to the mother as well.
So was he the abuser? Was she the abuser?
Well, I would say they're both abusers. He's an abuser physically, and she's an abuser by omission. Very much so.
Can you talk about why the mother and the boyfriend made the decision to leave the apartment, to find a new place to live?
Well, I would absolutely think that common sense would tell you that they're distancing themselves from a dead child, and they know that it's gone on for, by the time they moved out, you're talking about probably 5 to 6 months after death. They know the entire time that there's a dead body in this apartment, leaving the kids there in the apartment. Yet those two, the two that are guilty in several different areas, they're going to separate themselves. So they go live in another apartment so that they don't have to be around them.
And the mother, we believe, was providing some food by delivery service or having food dropped off on a fairly routine basis. I didn't see anything that was healthy type of food. It was,
No,
I think,
ramen.
more like junk food,
Noodles
and,
and things like
and chips and soft drinks and things like that. Let me work my way over here.
First question, is there any evidence that the mother was being physically abused herself?
No.
No evidence of that. No outcry has been made from
And
the.
then, can you give us any information about CPS's prior interaction with this family and why that investigation ceased?
We're going to refer that to CPS. Obviously, they could speak to their own investigations and what they have on file, so we're not going to speak to that. Let me make my way.
Can you provide any information about what led to the child's death? I know you said that
It's just blunt force trauma is what we know. I mean, it's still. Again, we'll work with the medical examiners to get more into the weeds on that, but. Again, that was another twist to all this, is that we were, in addition to one serious child that's alive with serious injuries and the malnourishment and abandonment, we had a skeletal dry remains that were discovered as well. So we'll work through that with the medical examiners, but it was ruled a homicide due to blunt force injuries.
you said it was happening in 2020, but do you have
2020, we think approximately November.
Any more
Right?
exact date than that?
Did you ask for an exact date? I'm sorry. No, we do not have more of an exact date than that. We believe we're using Thanksgiving of 2020, sometime around November 20th through November 29th is the kind of the reference point we're using there. And we absolutely believe that's when that child was killed.
And based on state of decomposition, all these were dry remains. I would just want to be clear with that. It was already
And is that
at
when they
that
moved
stage.
out to?
Let me make already.
Two questions about the building management. One, who was paying for the bills? Were the bills being paid?
Our understanding is that they were receiving some type of maybe government assistance for that. I don't know how those payments are done, if they're directly to the apartment and how they were handled.
And will part of your investigation be looking at this apartment complex? I'm told with this housing complex, they're supposed to be doing inspections regularly, pest control, looking at when the last time someone was inside the apartment. Was there any failure on their part as well?
We will document that, obviously, all of that, but I don't think that that the focus of our investigation, the Harris County Sheriff's Office, will be on whether there's any type of liability on that apartment complex, any type of criminal liability. You know, ours is strictly the murder of this child and the fact that the mother did not contact law enforcement, report this, or get any kind of help for any of her children that needed it.
Are all 4 children special needs? What type of special needs do they have, or were they in the
We've
same
received
group?
some information that at least 2 may be on the autistic spectrum, but you know, we're not, medical professionals know that part yet, we don't, but that's the general information that we've received. So on top of being abandoned, these are children that really needed some additional care and support to, you know, understanding the dynamics of that.
¿Podría decir eso en español, por favor?
Nos dicen que los niños tal vez estaban autistic, por lo menos 2, no somos médicos para estar seguros, pero es lo que nos han dicho que tal vez tenían autismo.
Algo así, mucha gente se cuestiona cómo fue posible que tanto tiempo permaneciera un cuerpo. Creo que hasta ustedes están bien impactados con eso.
Sí, no, bastante. No habíamos visto una situación así con todos esos elementos, pero parece ser que los restos habían estado allí ya por más de un año. Es lo que tenemos entendido, que es cuando sospechamos que el novio asesinó al niño y mantenieron el cuerpo allí. Parece que se mudaron ese apartamento a otro apartamento aparte y dejaron a los niños abandonados ahí.
¿Cómo estaba el cuerpo del niño?
Ya estaba en una situación de restos óseos, parece que dicen restos óseos, como se dice, como el cadáver, ya solamente estaba el cadáver seco, no era algo que había pasado
¿No lo
recientemente.
tenían escondido?
No, estaba, the remains, the skeletal remains were found in plain view, if you will. They weren't concealed in any way or anything like
Do you believe the boyfriend and mother were going back to the apartment and actually hurting the children while still giving them food?
Well, if the injury to the small child would indicate there was still some level of contact, so I don't know. I don't think they were really spending much time in there at all. But Sarge, do you have anything?
Yeah, the evidence that they continued to abuse these children is that, one, the injury to the 9-year-old boy that we understand did not occur in that apartment, that injury to him, that he had been picked up and he was taken somewhere and then brought back.
And then, so they were in this apartment for so long. We had some neighbors giving them food. Somebody said he looked really thin. They were not in school. A message to parents. How important is it when you see stuff like this to call for help, to say, hey, these kids, you know, I'm worried. You know, they're in this apartment. I've been giving them food for X amount of months. He looks really thin. How important is it that we call 911 in these cases? Because we probably could have, you know, helped these kids a lot earlier, and they're at this point, they're just traumatized by what happened.
Well, that's a perfect segue because I do want to kind of close at least some of the formal, and if we still have questions, we'll answer a few more, but I wanted to make sure I got this in. We rely on our community to report abuse and keep our children safe when they see the signs of a child in need. Signs of abuse aren't always obvious, but they are often there if you know where to look. We are asking every adult in our community to help. Take actionable steps to create safer environments for the children in your life. 1, if you see something, say something. Reporting suspicions of child abuse can save a life, prevent further victimization, or stop more children from being victimized. 2, learn how to recognize and report child abuse. Education and training are our best defense against those who harm children. 3, talk to your children. Start the conversation early and continue the discussion throughout their upbringing. 4, spread the message. Tell your neighbors and loved ones how they, too, can do their part to keep our children safe in a real and virtual world. Our partners at the Children's Assessment Center offer free training and resources on the signs and symptoms of child abuse and share stories of survivors throughout the year. Sadly, in 2020, nearly 4,000 children received services at the Children's Assessment Center here in Harris County. These experts provide high-quality care so children can thrive. Their work embodies the sentiment, no future should be out of reach. And while the work of our Sheriff's Office specialized units is always essential, it is especially critical during a crisis. The disruption brought on by the pandemic made our children even more vulnerable to abuse. Some of those traditional safety nets have been removed, with children not regularly attending schools, daycares, and after-school programs. We have a shared responsibility and shared commitment to ensure every child lives a life free from abuse. Prevention through education is key. If you're concerned about your child in your life, call us at 713-221-6000. If you want to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. And in closing, I want to make sure that I just recognize our personnel, those in the front lines, the deputies that first responded, the sergeants, the call taker, the investigators, our crime scene unit investigators, our warrants team, just everybody. It really has taken an entire team. They've worked tirelessly around the clock and have really given it their all to make sure we got to this point. And I know sometimes the general public wants us to work a case as if it were a crime series and everything's going to be wrapped up in an hour. I understand that. We understand their same frustration and concerns and eagerness, but we have to stay focused with what's in our line of sight, make sure we're being professionals. We owe it to these children to make sure that if a case comes to trial, that there's a chance for successful prosecution. So we want to make sure that we're being thorough. And sometimes we can't just go with what our own personal feelings may be. We have to put those aside and focus on the job at hand. So I want to thank all of them here today and those that may not be present because
Oh my God. Oh my God, people. I couldn't keep my dang mouth shut through that. I swear, I want to just get up and scream. So, my understanding is this lady, the mother, she's not a mother, we know that. But anyway, she met this guy, Mr. Wright, piece of shit. She met him and she's been going with him for 2 or 3 years now. This is just what I'm getting from that. They were in that apartment together. This guy was beating on these kids the whole time. Yeah. The whole time they were together, her piece of crap boyfriend was beating on her 4 little innocent boys. Little guys. Okay? None of them were big. They were all little. So what happened was, one day, the boyfriend beat the little 8-year-old to death. He beat him to death, people. I am sick. And you know what mom did? Did she run and give aid to her baby? Did she take him with her? Did she try to find a place to bury him at least? Did she inform anybody? She never told anybody anything. She's got a dead little boy in an apartment that a piece of crap that she's hooked up with has beat to death. And what does she do? That's right. I'm going to throw that up there right now, Jane. I'm going to throw it up there because I am pissed. Monsters. Pieces of shit monsters. Okay? These are not even human. I'm not even going to give them that. Because, god damn, how do you leave this baby, this little baby, and these other babies, damn it, they're little, they can't fend for themselves. So the boyfriend beats her boy to death. And instead of trying to find a place to bury him or call law enforcement or maybe notify a friend or family member, if nothing else, shit, just hold him for a while. She does none of the above. The boyfriend says, we got to get out of here. Look what I just did. And she says, let's go. Let's go. And she left with that piece of crap. That's right. Evil is alive in them because that's what they are, epitome of evil. So she leaves with the boyfriend, leaves that baby there dead, leaves the other 3 there to fend for themselves with no furniture, no utilities on, nobody's paying rent, and no food, no blankets. You heard what the officer said. That place didn't have anything in it but cockroaches and nastiness. That's what the officer said. When they went in, there was absolutely no furniture. There was nothing in there but cockroaches and nastiness and just dirty as heck. Now, the no utilities, you know these little guys were in there at night with nothing, no lights, no nothing. How are you heating up water? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you eating those top ramens with cold water on them? Yeah. We will, baby. We are going to pray hard. You know what you better pray for? Them too, because if they get out, I'm going to kill them. They're never getting out. So anyway, so she leaves with the boyfriend. They take off, and hey, I don't know, what should we do? We've got a dead baby and 3 that we just left. And he says, well, let's just go get us an apartment and pretend like it didn't happen. And I got a feeling all that was on her dime too, because she got that first apartment, and I bet she got that second apartment. And what the hell are you thinking? Just go get another apartment, leave these little boys alone to fend for themselves, and it doesn't bother you? These aren't humans. No, they're not. And evidently, the other little boy that she left, which he's calling the 9-year-old, had a broken jaw, is what it's sounding like. He keeps saying, "Oh, face problem." No, I think he broke his jaw. Took him back and left. No medical aid. This little man is suffering. The dead one is already there. They're already seeing that. Can you imagine the fear in the 15-year-old? This monster has already killed his brother, and now he's broke the little one's jaw. And I think what happened was the 15-year-old finally figured out, Mom is not coming to help us. I've got to help, because another one of my brothers is going to die. And that little 15-year-old hero, because he's a hero guy, he's a hero, that little man, saved him. He did it. The 15-year-old, emaciated, that had went through all this, has saved them. He's the one, the 15-year-old that she left there to die, because she left him to die, you guys. She was not coming back and bringing them food. I don't know where that came from. She had 1 or 2 drops, and that was it. The neighbors were feeding them. So she leaves him there, and the 15-year-old is the one that's the hero here. He gets up enough gumption, even though he's going through all this fear. Come on. This guy has killed his brother. This guy looks like he's broke the other one's jaw. Who knows what he did to the little one? I'm glad they didn't even say, because goddamn, I can't take it. And he calls the cops. And he has to go to an apartment to charge his phone up to even make the 911 call. He couldn't even do that at home. He couldn't even do that in his dungeon of horrors that he was living in. He couldn't even charge his own phone to call 911. Oh gosh, I hope they get life. They better get life, because I can't stand them. I hate them. I hate them both. I hate anything that'll pick on a little kid. And you guys know already, there's so many people that would have taken them in, and they wouldn't have went through any suffering. Please God, don't let them suffer ever again. Not even a second. No more. They deserve so much better. So ridiculous. But anyway, that's our update. Now we've got some charges on them, because they did let them go at first. But I know everybody's going, what the hell? And I did too. But I got a feeling she gave these cops a story that they had to confirm and corroborate with other people. And I think her story was they were supposed to be living with their dad, because he said, in the beginning, one of the fathers of, I don't know how many of these kids, but he's deceased. Okay. And the second one, by what this law enforcement is telling us, didn't have any kind of bearing on these children's lives. Otherwise, he wasn't in their lives since they were born. I don't know how many. I don't know if 2 of them belonged to the guy that died and 2 belonged to the other one that was never there. I mean, he never had contact with them anyway. So they didn't have a father. So if she gave them that story, hey, the father's taking care of them, that was a lie. Because there was no father. They had no father. They had their precious mother to look out for them. God damn. I am so sorry, little guys. My little heart is just on fire for these boys. That is the saddest thing. They're depending on mom. Please, mom, come and get me. Please, mom, call the cops. Please, mom, goddamn, hold me. She didn't do any of that. Knowing she's got a son that's dead in that apartment, she knew it the whole time. How could a mother walk away from that? And he is not a good-looking guy, people. Okay, you seen him. He looks mean as hell. But I would never leave my baby. I just don't know how she could do that and even function. I couldn't function under that. Not knowing my 4 boys are over there with nobody watching them. I couldn't even function that way. Oh gosh, yeah, you are so right. Cold-blooded? Yeah, cold-blooded to the point of being reptilian. Okay? Because that's what they're like, reptiles. They just slithered off. When the going got tough, they slithered away into another damn den. And who knows if she's pregnant or not. She kind of looked it to me, and I hope to God she's not. I hope she's not. But on the flip side of that coin, let's say she was pregnant, she'd be having it in jail, and there would be a good family get a wonderful baby. Something they deserve and something she doesn't deserve. It would go to a better home than what she would ever goddamn provide them. I just can't imagine doing this to the babies. I just can't imagine just acting like they're not there, you guys. I mean, how could she do that? How could she do that? Yes. Oh, Lord. Oh, spin your head just thinking of how crazy these people are. You know, I don't know how she did that. I know none of you guys would do that. I could tell you right now, the people that are in here with me, yeah, I see you guys. Hello, and thank you so much for even being here. But I already know, I know that none of you guys would have done that. I know that you would have been an excellent mother and took care of that baby and got rid of that piece of crap that did that to him. But she decided to walk away. You know, this is really strange, but I have seen this type of case before. Many times. I mean, not just a couple of times. But, you know, we've got the Samuel Olsons even going on. It's just ridiculous. How could a mother hook up with these piece of crap boyfriends? And I could understand if she had no knowledge of what was going on. I could understand that she wouldn't have the knowledge. Then she wouldn't understand that this boyfriend is doing this to these boys. But she had the knowledge. This mother knew. This is not something she didn't know. They were together like over 2 years, her and that piece of crap guy that she's with. And so she knew. She was there. She was living in it. I don't think she was ever standing up for them boys at all the whole time she was there. There's more charges coming, you guys. He said we're still looking into it because she's not done. I can tell you right now, they're going to press some more charges on her, as well they should. I think she should be in there for at least manslaughter. At least. They got him for murder. But I think they should get her for manslaughter, not just at least. I mean, I'm sure there's more charges we can think of. They're not going to get her for murder one, but they could get her for manslaughter because she had knowledge of what happened and did absolutely nothing. So I'm thinking they could go with a manslaughter charge on that, and they really should. But like I said, there's more charges coming. This is not it. There's more charges coming for him too. But I know there's going to be a world of charges coming for this mother. I bet you guys can think of some other charges that she could be charged with. Accessory, before and after the fact, manslaughter, in knowledge that he was dead and just left. She rendered no aid to any of them. Little guys. These little guys. Boy, they sure didn't deserve these a-holes. Sure hope they both go away. Yeah, I'd like to see them go away for goods. I'm just thinking they're not fit to walk around in society. We know that they should never be around kids again. That's it. I wouldn't want them around any kids. None that I know of. Heck, these kind of stories make me want to run around the neighborhood and check everybody's kid, make sure everybody's okay. I'm not kidding. They really put the fear in you because the neighbors kept those kids alive. The mom did not keep them alive. The neighbors kept them alive. And the little one, or the 15-year-old that was getting food from everybody, had PTSD so bad, he thought people were his paranoia had kicked in, and he thought people were trying to poison him. So he wouldn't take any food unless it was sealed. That's PTSD in a 15-year-old. What kind of trauma does a 15-year-old go through to end up with that? I mean, they've went through hell. And I'm thinking the other one that was still there had a broken jaw. And the LE just said that they had picked him up, I think he's 9, taken him somewhere else, and the a-hole had beat the shit out of him, and I think he broke his jaw, and took him back to that apartment and left him there. No pain meds. No emergency aid at all. In the dark, with no utilities, no warm water, no beds, no blanket, and this little man suffered. Oh boy, you guys. This kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm having a hard time covering these cases like this. Because last night I was so damn mad I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking, God, if they don't charge them with something, I'm just going to come unglued here. But the story hadn't came out yet. And the story still hasn't come out yet, you guys. There's a lot more to this story. I mean, we're getting the basics. 4 little boys left in an apartment by mom and piece of crap boyfriend. She's a piece of crap too, don't get me wrong. I just have to use the word so you'll know who I'm talking about. So mom and piece of crap boyfriend, he beats one to death, and he's already been beaten on the other ones too. But this one, he went overboard, and blunt force trauma to the head. He killed it. And then he just decides, oh, we just got to get out of here because I don't want to get in trouble. Of course, the boyfriend is scared to death of getting in trouble, but he didn't care about the pain he inflicted on this little guy. He didn't care about them. He cared about him and mom being as wonderful as she is, getting the hell out of Dodge before he got murder charges pressed on him for beating this little guy to death. So they went and got him another apartment. And did you know that apartment they got is like 10 minutes away? It's not that far away, you guys. They didn't go very far. And they're going back and forth. And I think the one that he broke the jaw on, that's still there, they probably picked him up, took him back to their apartment, and this guy got stupid and beat him up, and then dropped him back off at the apartment with no utilities on, with no furniture, no food, no water. What the hell are you doing? These people are disgusting. I can't believe it. I know you guys can't believe it. I know, Rivers. Look at poor Rivers. Rivers, thank you for being here, but this is so sad. It's so past that. This goes right into torture, people. This is torturing. This is not any kind of compassion, empathy, nothing for these little bitty guys. You know, I would have loved to have them. I bet you guys would just love to have had them. And there's other families out there that I know would have just welcomed these little guys with open arms and would have loved to have had them. They never needed to suffer. They never needed to go through this. Hi, Helen. Who paid the rent? Okay, this is the story that I'm getting from this. Mom got aid. I don't know what kind of aid, but mom got aid and paid the rent on the apartment. Now, for the last few months, it hasn't been paid. But the landlord is saying because of the new laws in order, you can't just kick people out. And we know the new laws have stemmed from the pandemic, I think is what they're talking about. But they saddled up and went and got them another apartment and left those kids in that apartment and just stopped paying rent there. Ridiculous. So yeah, I think this is mom. This is mom doing this. You know, it's but she's not, I'm not saying that she's the only one involved that, no, he was a piece of crap from the beginning. He snow jobbed her, but it didn't seem like it took him much to make her believe. It didn't take him much to make her on his side and not care about these little guys. And I don't know how he did it, because look at him, you guys. Does he look like Mr. Right to you? Hell no. I think if I seen him somewhere, I'd go the other way, especially a dark alley. I'd run the other way. He's not that good looking. He's not Mr. Right. He's a piece of crap. But he's a mean ass piece of crap. And I'm wondering, was he this way with mom? Even if he was this way with the mother, she had a year to get away from him. That's true. You know what, Jane? That's true. Now she's liable for government fraud as well. And that's going to come in play. It will. Because they said, oh, we've got some new charges coming up. Well, that's going to be one of the new charges coming up. You know it is. Because who knows what all these two were doing. But the least would be the government fraud. And there's some kind of fraud going on with these two. Because they got that apartment, left them there, and off they went. Crazy. Let's see what Helen's got to say. Truly staggering, the depravity of some people they live. That's true. Oh my goodness, people, you don't live like this. For one, when you have kids, I'm going to talk about mine here for a minute. When you have them, you just kind of change lives with them, because you do everything to keep them happy. You do everything to keep them healthy. You do everything for them. You will guard them with your life. I definitely guard mine with my life. I mean, if I had this guy come in on me and my 4 boys, oh, no way. No way. He wouldn't get around them. Besides, we would take him down. Yeah, you're not going to let anybody around them. My boy's like that. Because he's a creepo, But, even like I said, even if he was beating on mom, she had a year. And in that year's time, just like law enforcement said, in that year's time, she surely could have got away from him and got some help. I think she didn't care. Let's see what Rivers is saying. Hi, Rivers. Took all the food and food stamps with them. I know those damn hungry hippos. You seen what they're... I'm wondering why nobody else checked on these kids. No grandparents. It almost sounds like there wasn't a lot of family involved other than her, because the father of some of them, I'm not sure how many of the boys, had died. The other father had never had anything to do with them since they were born. Now, grandparents, I don't know, but it almost sounds like she doesn't have a lot to do with her family. And I don't know about him, but he's not family anyway. It would be her family. And why nobody else checked on them, I don't know. A whole year? Really? Well, they were out of the school. I know they weren't in school. Love this. Love it, Jane. Mine is 34. I'd still take someone down over him. Heck yeah. Well, mine's in his 40s. And that's my baby. Yep. Still my babies. 30s and 40s, still my babies. My little guys. I definitely wouldn't let anyone hurt them. And they feel the same way about mom. We're super close. So I have no idea how this has happened. They fell through the cracks. Where's CPS? And I'm not blaming, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm not blaming the people that lived around there, the neighbors. Oh no, I am not blaming them at all. I know sometimes I kind of sound that way, but I'm not. But if they're coming to you, the 15-year-old had 2 neighbors that I know of, maybe more, that was helping them out by giving them food, charging their little phone and stuff. But if they come to you for food, wouldn't you go over and say, hey, maybe I'll talk to your mom a little bit, or, let me just see what's going on with you guys. How are you doing today? Can I see your brothers? What are they doing? What do they like to do? Little nosy goes a long way. Little nosy goes a long way. Yes, it sounds too far-fetched to be true, yet here we are. So did Brian Laundrie. I've never heard of that before either, but here we are, you guys. Lori Vallow, far-fetched as hell, that one. Of course, she's a god. Oh my god. Yeah, she went way above and beyond this girl. She damn near killed everybody around her, But how crazy. Mothers, this is crazy. I've seen these kind of cases lately come and go a lot. Lori Vallow, Samuel Olson, Brian Laundrie. What is that case about? I've never seen crap like this, any of it. See what Helen's saying. Uh-oh. Exactly. Why didn't they do something? I'm not blaming them. I know it kind of... She's a god. I know I sound like I'm kind of blaming them, but I'm not. But it seemed to me like there was a lot of triggers there that they would have seen. Like, for one, they're hungry and asking you for food. Wouldn't you want to go back and say, hey, well, how's everybody else doing, I'm telling you guys right now. Oh, God, Jay. I know. Yeah, Lori's a god. I forgot. And we must remember Lori Vallow's a god. I'm telling you guys right now, be nosy. Be nosy. Everybody says, I don't want to be nosy. Be nosy as hell. If you see a kid come up to you and saying, I'm hungry, well, let's check on you a little bit. Let's sit down and talk to you for a minute. Oh, yes. Oh, you guys, I cannot believe I did not include that. Summer Wells. Yes. Yep. Hello, beautiful. Yes, I agree. Be nosy. Honey, we're all told our whole lives, probably me more than other people, don't be so nosy. Why do you got to know everything? I was told that a lot, you guys, because I was that kid. I got to know every damn thing about everybody. I talk everybody to death. That's why I'm on here. I love to talk. I never shut up. But it's okay. It's okay. Be nosy as hell. If a kid comes up to you, I'm hungry. Oh, okay. What's your name? Where do you live? How old are you? When's the last time you ate? Nosy, nosy. My daughter does it all the time to homeless people. We pull over. She gets out there and sits on the curb with them. Ask them how they're doing. How's your day? And she goes into their life. And she digs. And the stories are unbelievable, you guys. Let's see what River's got to say. And I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm just thanking you right off the bat. I love you coming and talking to me. I welcome every one of you. The trauma these children have to deal with, seeing their brother decompose, it's going to stay with them forever. It'll never go. You're right. It's never going to go away. And that's why I was saying, what is going on with this 15-year-old with post-traumatic? Okay. He's got PTSD. He is paranoid, thinking people are trying to kill him. They're trying to poison him. It's never going away. Oh, not for these boys. Maybe the youngest will have a better chance of not. I don't know. I think he's going to be affected too. He's just at an age where I think they're all going to be affected. Oh, you know what? I'm kind of thinking like you. I wonder why the 15-year-old didn't say anything a year ago. Well, I'm thinking mom promised that she was going to take care of it before they left. And then Monster that did it, her boyfriend Monster, probably told him, I will kick your ass. I'll come back and kill every one of you if you ever say anything about what I've done. So he's living on fear and trust, this 15-year-old. He's living on fear and trust because he's fearing the monster and he's trusting the mother. So that's where he's at, rocking a hard place. And I know that's why that little 15-year-old he didn't say anything, because I think he thought he'll come back and kill me too. And then mom probably reassured him, help's on its way. But help wasn't on its way. Help wasn't on its way, you guys. You know. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, help was not on its way. But I think the little guy, I think this little 15-year-old is still a hero. Oh man, you guys, he's our hero. He got him out of it. He still got him out of it. This little boy, he's a little boy, has rose up out of this living hell and saved himself and his little brothers. He did that. He did that. What a little hero. We love him. We love him, you guys. I just think about his little life, I hope he's going to have the best life ever. I hope he goes to a family that reassures him that he will never suffer the rest of his life and that he will only be loved. That's where I want the little 15-year-old to go. Oh, let's see what Jane's got to say here. It's always there, lurking in the mind. Trust issues forever, among other issues. Oh yeah, it's not going nowhere. Not as horrendous as this is. No, it's not going anywhere. It's not. These poor little guys. I'm hoping though, honey. I'm just hoping that he goes to a wonderful home. I would love to see all three of them go together, because they'd want to be together. I don't know if they will, but I would love to hear later on that they did and that they're doing awesome. I wish someone would do an interview with them later, maybe 6 months down the road, and update us on how they're doing. Oh, I know they're doing better than what they're doing now, but than what they were doing then. I know they're doing better. But yeah, we have to pray. Oh, there's Jane. Yes, of course. Yes, we have to pray hard for these children. We have to be nosy prayer warriors, guys. Nosy prayer warriors. Get out there. Let's clean this crap up. Let's show people what love is about. Let's show some little guys, big guys, whoever, what love is like when it enters your life and its little light just warms you up. We got to love them. We got to love these little guys, because some of them don't have anybody else loving them. So we got to do it. I love these 4 boys, and I pray that one's little heart has went to heaven already. But I love them. It kills me. This kills me. A whole year? Oh, guys, a whole year of nobody even stepping up. Yeah, they deserve to be doted on. Hell yeah. Oh, I would just give them the world. I would. I'd say, here you go. This world on a platter. You guys so deserve it. Agreed. Yeah, Jane's agreed. Agreed, yeah. So my message for the day, I don't know if I ever have messages for the day, but I got a message. Here's a life message. I'm not even going to say a day. Is to be nosy. I want y'all nosy as hell. Until somebody says, I'm going to kill you if you don't leave me alone. Just go ahead. Still push them a little bit more, but just be nosy. And this is Rivers. I'm an old Italian woman. I love you already. I would love to live with you. I feed all the kids in the neighborhood. I'd be putting food in front of these kids constantly. Love it. Love it, honey. You know what, Rivers? We love you. Not just because you're an old Italian woman, because we love that. We know already the food that you're putting in front of them is amazing. I would love to have some of it. If we lived closer, I would say, come over, honey. I would love you to cook. And so, yes, we've got to be putting food in front of these kids, What's Jane? What's going on? Oh, you know what? Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you. Some days I'm pissed, you guys, but I'm always heartfelt. I'm always wanting the little kiddos. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm always wanting them to be loved. They need to be loved and not left out. Not left out of our hearts, not left out of our minds, not left out of River's Kitchen. Let's keep them there. Let's keep these little guys there and close. Let's love on them, dote on them, make sure they're going to be all right. So, this is what we got to do. This is our mission for life, guys. Oh, jeez. Helen. I'm an old Irish woman. Well, I'll tell you what I am. I'm a contradiction because I am an Okie-Arkie Indian. So I'm a cowboy and an Indian. I'm a contradiction. A little bit of all. I love you guys. And I love you, you old Irish woman. I bet you cook some amazing stuff too. If you lived here, you'd be in my kitchen too. Let's go make some. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm going to have to wrap it up. I've talked your head off. I'm going to come back later and talk your head off some more. It's probably going to be about Brian Laundrie because, oh my goodness. If not, it might be about Summer. Let's see what new, maybe something new comes up today. But Summer Wells, I'm completely lost on that case. I couldn't I couldn't tell you what's going on in that case, really. I lost Summer Wells at Donald Wells' poo-poo episode. I ain't seen it since then. That was different, wasn't it? Oh, Don and Candace and oh, jeez. I ain't going to get going because you know what? I'll never go away. So anyway, love you guys. And you know what I'm saying? Be nosy, nosy, nosy. Better be nosy. I know, Helen. It's time for the stomach to be full. Let's do it. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me. I love you guys.